You still hear the sounds of ripping flesh and shattering bone. It's not even human anymore. Even Sousa had gone stone cold in shock. During all the time in combat, she'd never seen a one-sided slaughter like this. She'd experienced this when they fought, but Kagari seemed to feel no pain, no fear or pain. She simply focused all her energy in killing her opponent. It was often said that humans unconsciously avoided using all their muscle power to protect their own bodies. Kagari seemed to lack that capability. Cleaver Cleaver Grill. That's a gold star. A pun like that, that's a gold star. Yen boy, hey! This looks like it's the finale, the grand finale. You're just in time. Just now, she stabbed a man who turned to run from her in the back. She tossed his huge body to the ground with only a single arm. Then one kicked his stomach from below and ruptured his organs, killing him. The finale? We're finally here! Yep. Took us a week, but we got here. Just surround her and fire. It's just one girl! Get around to the right. The right! Finally, after several, perhaps a dozen or more of the men had been killed, what remained of the squad started to scream orders at one another. This episode needs more Stardust handshake. With terrifying reflexes, she dodged between their shots, brutally murdered several more. But at last, a hail of gunfire struck her left hand. The knife she was holding fell to the ground. No, that wasn't it. It wasn't the knife that fell. It was her entire left hand. The shock caused her body to stagger back. And now, fire! Someone screamed in a voice that lacked any of the pride and bravery a soldier is supposed to possess. Several more bullets dug into her body. Parts of the motorcycle suit ripped open and the helmet cracked. Blood that was clearly her own, not that of the men she'd killed, began to pour out. Damn! At last, she fell into a pile of corpses. Okay. Must have thought they finally had her. One of the survivors pointed his gun down to finish her, and just as he was about to pull the trigger... Ah! Her bestial roar and the man's terrified scream overlapped in a horrible cacophony. Damn. She's a machine, man. She forced herself to leap up and brought the back of the remaining cleaver down on his arm, knocking him back. An instant later, the knife slit his throat and ended his life. Retreat! Retreat! Survivors began to flee in terror. Oh no, that's right. It's okay. Don't panic. There's still time. There's nothing to worry about. Suzuha's just fine. Before long, Mayuri will show up at the lab like nothing happened. He's on his way to the battleground. When I reached the radio building, I realized that many people in the crowd of pedestrians were holding their phones up to the sky. There's evidently no service near the station either. It took a moment to catch my breath as I looked up at the radio building. I could hear what sounded like a distant explosion. It wasn't just one. Explosions were coming in a series. Several of the people around me were glancing at their surroundings, confused by these unfamiliar sounds. Then I realized that was gunfire. I remembered the sounds I'd heard during the battle between CERN's rounders and the Russian military. The sounds were coming from the roof of the radio building. Had I not made it in time? Suzuha! I ran into the radio building. For some reason, the elevator was under maintenance and turned off. I had no choice but to take the stairs. My heart was pounding so fast that I thought it would burst. I tripped several times due to how tense I was. I stumbled again and again on the stairs. How many times had I come up these stairs feeling like this? Cursing my lack of endurance, I headed for the top floor. When I got to the 7th floor, I ran into someone I'd hoped I wouldn't see. No, I guess that I'd run into them was right. I wish that I wasn't, but Dr. Leskinen. Hello, Lintalvo. I didn't expect to see you here so early. Dr. Leskinen seemed perturbed when he saw my face. What are you doing here? Calm down for a moment. We can't talk when you're out of breath like that, can we? What are you doing here? What happened to Amadeus? The sampling test I asked you to perform ended 6 months ago. I can't tell you that. The sensor. Even though Amadeus had disappeared, Leskinen was extremely calm. There was no sign of him trying to deal with the problem, and instead of being in his office, he was here. That was all I needed to know. So the message Kurisu sent to me was true, wasn't it? The father that's spoken of was Leskinen after all. What happened to Kurisu and Maho? Trying to analyze their memory data to extract the information on the time machine, aren't you? Well, that's a surprise. Kurisu told you all that? I thought I was keeping an eye on her. I wonder when she did it. Leskinen seemed truly shocked, which meant he hadn't noticed that Kurisu was an ad-channeler, and that she'd spoken to me there. Damn! Now he pulls out a gun? He's finally gonna get his hands dirty. That piece of... And then Leskinen took out a gun and pointed it at me. Seems you've learned a little too much. Who are you? Scientist. Charity, you see. Are you aware of an American civilian intelligence company called Strategic Focus? Strategic Focus? The American company? Stratfor. I'd read about them on a conspiracy theory website. I remembered reading that they'd acquired top secret information on Russian ballistic missiles that even the CIA couldn't get, and then sold it. The results were the destruction of the CIA's reputation. At the same time, the total reorganization of Russia's military strategy. I heard rumors that during the Gulf and Iraq wars, they'd obtained information about the warring countries faster than anyone and spread it as needed. The world government supposedly called them the Shadow CIA. Going to use Amadeus for military purposes? Was everything he'd said at the seminar just platitudes and lies? I don't think I'm the one who's important here, am I? Anyway, Lentalvo, I heard something from Katsumi. You have the new encephalitis too, don't you? In fact, you seem to know something about how it works. Very interesting. Would you be willing to offer that information to me? All you have to do is undergo a simple procedure. I'll be happy to hire you as my assistant. For some reason, my whole body broke out in goosebumps. The word procedure. But Dr. Leskinen I knew, the man with the childlike, mischievous heart and deep scientific curiosity, the man who'd been so kind to me, the man I respected, was gone. In his place was the cruel scientific fundamentalist who thought nothing of human lives or hearts as he pointed a gun at me. Was this who he truly was? Suddenly he seemed like a terrifying unknown. How about it? He took a step towards me. Then... another fierce gunfight broke out above. Leskinen clicked his tongue at the sound. He glanced toward the stairs. Why am I hearing gunfire? I told him so many times to handle this peacefully. I took advantage of the distraction. Luckily, I was still on the staircase. I tackled his leg as hard as I could. He lost his balance and fell. He hit his head hard on one of the steps. After a moment's jerk, stopped moving at all. Good, that's what he gets. He might be dead. I didn't care anymore. Become a murderer many times over already. Damn, this is it. It's about to go down. When I opened the door, what I saw was a vision from the heart of hell itself. There was blood everywhere and bodies too. What is this? In the middle of the sea of blood was a girl in a motorcycle suit and helmet, covered in crimson as she lay on the ground. She held a giant cleaver. I could see instantly that she was responsible for this disaster. Her shoulders moved up and down a little, so evidently she was still alive. I approached the woman, trying my best not to throw up from the stench. Are you okay, Mommy? Her voice from beneath the cracked, broken helmet. Closer and saw that some of the blood was her own. Her body was racked by bullet wounds. Her left hand was completely gone. It was a miracle that she had somehow survived all that. She didn't seem to notice me as she slowly crawled through the blood. I followed her gaze and saw Mayuri huddled beneath the time machine. Suzuha seemed to be unhurt. There was blood on Mayuri's face. Mayuri! I hadn't expected to see her here. I was worried about her wound, but more than anything, I was glad she was safe. I raised her face when she heard my voice. The next moment, her eyes locked on the girl in the motorcycle suit. No! She saw the thing crawling toward her and screamed. Mommy, this isn't what it looks like. Kaguri didn't want to kill anyone. He just wanted to protect you. Kaguri? Did she say Kaguri? Only then I realized that the girl in the motorcycle suit was that Shina Kaguri that Suzuha had been looking for. I'm sorry, Mommy. Kaguri, that's enough. Suzuha yelled, unable to take anymore. Don't move anymore. You'll die. Kaguri didn't want to scare you. Really? Meant it. Just had to save you, so please don't hate me. Sorry, Mommy. Forgive me. Last, her strength failed. She collapsed. I returned to my senses and ran to her before Suzuha could get there. Hey, are you okay? Her breathing was wheezy and shallow. One of the bullets had probably pierced her lung. I thought taking off her helmet would help her breathe, so I put my hand on it to remove it, but she grabbed my hand and pushed it away. No, don't take it. Not in front of Mommy and Big Sis Suzuha. Please, Okabe. Voice, the way she talked. I realized who this girl called Shina Kaguri was. I looked close and saw I recognized her face. No, you're... But why? Okarin, is Kaguri okay? Stay back. I quickly motioned to Suzuha to keep her distance. Leave her to me. You take care of Mayuri. Is she okay? Check for me. He looked upset, but did as I asked. Went back to Mayuri and started to look at her wounds. Mayuri was covering her face and tried not to look at the bodies. It's okay, it's not deep. I relaxed a little when I heard that. I'm so glad you're safe, Mommy. Kaguri's voice was a whisper. I cradled her in my arms. She slowly closed her eyes. Her breathing got weaker. In there. Why are you... It's okay. Don't worry. Even like this, I don't suffer or feel pain. I hear the voice of God. It tells me that it doesn't hurt. That I don't feel the pain. So I'm just... Tell you, Okabe. Real one doesn't know anything. Been in Europe on an exchange program for 3 years. Professor manipulated things behind the scenes to send me to Akihabara. Real one doesn't know anything. Professor, did she mean? World line, Hashida and the real one will meet next year. Kaguri opened her eyes a little once more. Looked toward the time machine, toward Mayuri and Suzuha. It's okay. I'm sure the real one will love Hashida too. Like I did. I said it. Don't tell anyone, okay? Damn. This time, her smile still shining in her eyes. They closed for real, with one final shudder. The strength left her body. Her life faded away in my hands. There was so much I wanted to ask her. Why had she appeared before us using that name? There were so many things I didn't understand. Shina Kaguri's life ended in that moment. Uncle Okarin, is Kaguri okay? Came back to my senses when I heard that voice. I told her about Kakuri's death. It would cause her a lot of mental stress. It wasn't a good idea. Right now I needed to do something about the time machine as fast as possible. She's okay. I'll take her to a hospital. I slung Kakuri's bloody body around my shoulder and stood up. Shut down the time machine and hide it. The cops will be coming. It's too late. What? Before I could open the door, a huge shadow appeared from within. Professor. He wasn't dead? Must have taken a lot of damage to the head, because his face was the color of clay. One of his eyes wasn't focusing. This will be a war zone soon. America, Russia, Japan have all started to move. This is not even my final form. Damn, man. What's it take to get rid of this guy? Once the gears start turning, you can't stop them. Kaguri had only told us sooner, things would have gotten this bad. Leskinen knew about Kaguri, which meant that I was right. But Susaha spoke before I could. I see, so you're the professor. You're the one who brainwashed Kaguri, aren't you? Is that true? Is that the kind of person you are? I myself haven't done anything. Leskinen didn't try to deny it. 10 years ago, I found a helpless girl on the streets. Helped her so she could grow up like this. Helped her. Never would have happened if she had a normal life. Do not yell like that. My head is killing me. I'm telling you the truth. She made contact with me. It was her plan to get plastic surgery and infiltrate the city. Evidently, the voice of God in the night tells her everything she needs to do. At first, I thought she was a homeless girl making up stories in hopes of getting food. When I examined her brain and her memories, I found something very interesting and wonderful. This God she spoke of. As his face twisted in pain, he smiled proudly. God she spoke of, it was me from the year 2036. You? You're a real mad scientist. Suddenly, I heard a siren down below. Just hearing the sound made me feel uneasy. I've never heard a sound like that before. What is this? This is guerrilla attack information. Report. Guerrilla attack information. A guerrilla attack may occur in this area. Please get indoors and obtain further information from radio or television broadcasts. I heard that announcement coming from the speakers on the street. Guerrilla attack? I could hear several helicopters in the sky above me. Oh no! This is where they blow up the time machine. If it's exactly like the other world line. Hydration break. Their engines were clearly more powerful than the ones in the media's news choppers. I recognized the sounds from the time I'd spent in the wartime war line. I told you, didn't I? There's about to be a war over this time machine right here. Third World War is about to begin? I'm sure the people here have no idea a world war is about to begin in the middle of this city. And then Leskinen leaned up against a wall, sat down and stopped moving. Whether he'd passed out or gone into a coma from the brain damage, I didn't have time to find out. It was like the air in the city had gotten heavier. That's how it felt. A chill ran down my spine. It's been a month at war in that world line. The same future was about to begin here. Something like that couldn't happen in Japan. It was like a TV show or a movie. I knew instinctively that this wasn't fiction. Been no sign since 6 months ago. Here in Akihabara in Tokyo, in Japan, spies and soldiers from all around the world had been working in the shadows. So I'd known this would happen. Using Susaha's request and choosing the world line where Mayuri survived, I've doomed over 5 billion people. I was the one who chose this. It was me. Uncle Okarin. I looked and saw that Susaha was pushing Mayuri into the time machine. We're gonna have to jump to the past. What? Take care of Kaguri. Susaha had no idea that Kaguri was already dead. She leaped into the cockpit. I raced over and grabbed into the hatch, then looked inside. Can't mean a year ago. You're going back there? So suddenly? Not sudden. We're not going back there. She was tapping commands into the console as she spoke. What? What do you mean you're not going back there? I'm borrowing Big Sis Mayu for a little. Yuri was already strapped into a seat. Just like I was when I jumped a year ago with Suzuha. Yuri, you... Okarin. Heard fierce gunfire and screams in the distance. It looked like some of the spies had started fighting each other. Kagari may have just wiped out a force from one nation, but an army from an entirely different one was still coming. Okarin, here. Mayuri handed me a smartphone. I took it without thinking. I can't get signal, so I'll give this to you, okay? Read the message. That'll tell you how Mayushi feels. Wait, where are you going? If you go, it won't change anything. You can't do anything. If you go, you won't be able to come back. No, it can't be you who does it, Okarin. This is Mayushi's job. I don't understand. I don't know what you're talking about. Please, get out of the time machine, Mayuri. If you leave the wheel of causality, I won't even know why I choose this world line. Okarin. Yuri gently rubbed my cheek. Smiled sadly. Softly pushed my shoulder. It threw me off balance and then made me let go of the hatch. And the hatch closed. Mayuri, wait! It was too late. By the time I grabbed back on, the hatch was sealed shut. The door control were biometric, only Suzuha could open it now. The time machine started to roar. A pale light began to gather around it. I'd seen this before, in the Alpha World line. Why, Mayuri? Just then a group of armed men kicked open the door and swarmed into the roof. They were highly trained military operatives. Then an attack helicopter descended from the skies. The soldiers started to shoot at it. The helicopter seemed to ignore them as it slowly hovered in place. I realized the powerful rocket launchers on either side of its body were aimed at me. No, at the time machine. It couldn't be. No, don't! My worst fears were realized. The helicopter fired its rockets. They headed straight for the time machine. It was still there, shrouded in light. No! The second I yelled, a powerful blast blew me back. The next thing I knew, I was crawling on the ground. I saw that some of the soldiers had already joined the mountain of corpses on the ground. Some of them were still shooting at the helicopter. I stood up as fast as I could. My whole body felt like it was on fire. My skin was burnt in places. My clothes had been blasted off. No, my own problems didn't matter. What about the time machine? I looked up toward where the time machine had been. If I had jumped in time, it should have been able to avoid the rockets. But... there were scraps of metal everywhere. I could tell they belonged to the time machine. Had I not made it in time? Suzuha. Mayuri. I looked around in the cloud of smoke. Mayuri, where are you? Mayuri, Suzuha, answer me! There were bodies everywhere. I couldn't see Mayuri or Suzuha. I couldn't even tell if they were alive or dead. There were no bodies. It simply vanished. For that, things went far beyond my power to control. Brutal battles took place on the ground and in the sky of Akihabara. I'd seen footage of war in the Middle East on the news. Same scenes were playing out in Akihabara. I managed to slip through the chaos of the battle and barely escaped the radio building with my life. I had no choice but to leave Kaguri's body. The long way back to the lab so that no one would find me. By the time I arrived, the sun had set. The night sky was illuminated with explosions and tracer rounds. The whole of Akihabara was like someone had poked a beehive. World War III. The lights were out of the lab, but inside I found Daru, Maho, and Ferris staring at the TV and computer monitor. Okarin! Okabe, I'm so glad you're safe. Wait, you're hurt. Are you okay? Did you get caught up in the fighting? First aid, quick! Didn't have the energy to answer them. I looked toward the footage on the TV screen. The reporter was wearing a bulletproof vest, hard hat. He was screaming at the top of his lungs, trying to drown out the reporters from the other stations. It's like a war zone. The area around Akibara Station and Center Street have been cut off. U.S. and SDF helicopters and tanks are... Oh, just now I heard another huge explosion. Is this really Japan? I feel like I'm reporting on a civil war. The government says that it's terrorism, but I can't imagine. And then a stray shot from an anti-material rifle fired by a special forces team from some country or another struck the news van's engine and blew it up. Ugh, it exploded! There's been an explosion! Trying to get killed? Get out of here! This is war! You're gonna die! An SDF soldier forced his way into the screen and yelled at the media to turn away. A war? With who? Hell if I know. Just after that, I heard another explosion. The video was cut off. Take a direct hit? Everyone fell silent. Dangerous here too. Can't go home. Net's in an uproar. Hey Okarin, where's Suzuha? Did you find Mayushi? Suzuha and Mayuri are... Suzuha and Mayuri either went back to the past, or they're dead. What? Daru stormed up to me infuriated. What do you mean? Which is it? An attack helicopter fired a rocket launcher at the time machine. It's destroyed. Suzuha and Mayuri were aboard. They were about to go back to the past. I saw some pieces of the time machine left, but it wasn't everything. Daru. I looked and looked. I couldn't find Suzuha and Mayuri's bodies anywhere. The piece, it was like they'd vanished without a trace. They made it back to the past. Tears I tried so hard to hold back came pouring out. Daru fell to his knees. Ferris and Maho were staring at me, eyes wide in shock. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Daru slammed his fist into the floor. This can't be happening! It can't! I tried to wipe away my tears and realized I was holding something in my right hand. It was the cell phone that Mayuri had given me. She told me to read the message on it. It wasn't locked. I opened the mail folder. There were several unsent messages addressed to her friends and family. One of them was addressed to me. That's what she wanted me to read? Shaking fingers, I tapped the screen to open the message. Oh no. Dear Okarin. Toot-a-doo! It's Mayushi! I knew I should probably tell you this face to face, but I wasn't sure if I could say it right. I wasn't sure what I'd do if you tried to stop me, so I decided to send a message instead. Going back to the past with Suzu. You're probably mad. You want to know why, right? But it's something that I have to do. You see, I was the one who hid my Hikoboshi, my strong Hikoboshi. Always got back up and left, no matter how bad things were. I was the one who hid him beyond the dark clouds. I was wrong. No one was trying to make you save the future all by yourself. You got Daru and Suzu and Luca and Ferris and Yuki and now Maho. So this time it's my turn. This is my first big mission as lab member 002. I'm sure you're worried, but I'll be fine. And even if something happens, I know you'll come to save me. The Hoenn Kyoma I love will come riding in on a new time machine he made and save the day. I know it. I'm going. I promise I'll come back. I'll come back to you, so just wait for me a little, okay? I love Hoenn Kyoma. But you know, I love Okabe Rintaro even more. God damn it, I'm crying. I love Okabe Rintaro even more. Yuri. Forgot, didn't you? You're my hostage. Can't be my hostage if you go away. You want me to come save you if something happens? What kind of hostage are you? The mad scientists of madness would never go to save you. To save you. You're an idiot. But I'm a bigger idiot. My heart was in pain. It hurt so much. It's just like after I killed Kurisu. Maybe I'd be better off if I just fell over and died. I'd do anything to be released from this pain. In the corner of my tear-blurred vision, I saw it. Owen Kiyoma's final weapon. Last hope. No. It was the thing that had brought me so many nightmares. I staggered to the development room, threw off the cardboard that was covering it. There it was. The phone wave, named subject to change, Unit 02. The thing that Maho and Daro had been working on behind my back. If I could complete this. Turned around, wiped away my tears, and saw my friends looking depressed in the middle of a darkened room. Said you didn't know how to make a time leap machine, right? Well, you do what I tell you. I'll give you the answer that Kurisu discovered. And then we'll activate the time machine. Maho said the one thing she didn't know was how to compress the memory data. Which means that everything else was finished. And I knew how to complete it. Dara was the first to nod. I'm in. Tell us, Okurin. I'll help too. It's settled, yeah. It was not Kurisu who figured it out. It was Okabe. Actually. Right? Did say she had helped. He said something that helped her stumble across it. Team effort. End of the day. All three responded with no hesitation. They turned toward me and spoke their answers clearly. Alright. Daru, I want you to hack CERN. We need to remote control the LHC. Use that to compress the memory data down to 36 bytes. That's small enough to send back to the past. He was the one who found out that the 42-inch TV was a lifter. True? Only when the TVs are on is time travel possible. Per black hole. Yes, 36 bytes? You tell she was a scientist by the way her face went pale at the number. But sometimes this thing doesn't work right. Sometimes it's just a normal microwave. It's the 42-inch CRT in the Braun workshop. The phone wave named subject to change only works when it's turned on. CRT TV? Oh, that's it! Just the word CRT were enough for her to figure it out. The light was coming back to their eyes. Then we may be able to finish it after all. But even if we can finish it, are you going to start using it now? We can't run human trials without doing anything first. You're not confident in what you built? But Kurisu did it already, in another world line. It's because she's Kurisu. I can't be her. You saw Kurisu's message in that channel, right? What? Lastly, I'd like you to pass a message to the person I respect the most. I always regarded myself as an essentially ordinary intellect. You were always the person I wanted to be. You were the real Amadeus. Got Kurisu to say that, and now you're gonna run away? I'm not running away. Don't underestimate me. I nodded back and smoothed back my hair, which had been amused by the explosion. Kiyoma, here! Ferris brought me my white lab coat, which had been hanging for ages on the wall in the development room. I bit down on my lip and wiped away the tears one more time. I took the lab coat and slipped my arms through the sleeves. I spun around so that the hem of the coat flew up and stood triumphantly in the center of the lab, just as I used to. And then I declared in a loud voice, "We will now complete the phone wave named subject to change Unit 02, perform a time leap. Lend me your aid. This time, I'm never giving up." I looked at Daru and Ferris and finally at Maho. Even if I failed the first dozen times, or the first 100 times, I'll try again 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times, or 1,000,000,000 times. I'll save them all. Suzuha, Mayuri, and Kurisu too. And this is the first step. For the first time in a year, I was back to my old self. My friends saw me and nodded, their faces filled with resolve. It took almost 2 full days to finish work on the phone wave. Meanwhile, the chaos in Akihabara continued. It wasn't safe to go outside. Working at the time loop machine was while knowing that the battles might reach us at any minute, or that a special forces team might burst in at any time, was a hard job that wore on our nerves. But still, we managed to finish the machine, somehow. I jumped. The next thing I knew, I was standing in the middle of an Akihabara alleyway. I was holding a cell phone in my hand. I had a nasty headache. There was a stinging pain in my neck. I felt a pain on one side of my head like a migraine headache. The left side of my face hurt really bad. My vision flashed with dark and bright spots. I took a look around. Alley was still peaceful. I heard no gunshots and no explosions. The otaku were enjoying their shopping, and grills and maid outfits were calling out to passerbyers. That alone was enough to tell me for sure. The time leap was a success. I looked at the time on my smartphone. July 7th, 5:45 p.m. At around 40 to 50 minutes before the war began. It still wasn't enough. The 48-hour limit of the time leap machine meant this was as far as I could go. No point in getting negative. If the machine had been finished just a little later, it would have been too late. I should be glad to have made it here at all. I knew what I'd been doing at this time. I was running around Akihabara looking for Mayuri. First, I needed to call Maho. She should have been looking for Mayuri too. Hello? Did you find her? No, but I know where she is. Hurry back to the lab. I hung up before she could answer and went back to the lab myself. She was already there by the time I arrived. You found Mayuri, right? Don't you have to go get her? Dara was acting a little awkward, probably because he just hit me. Maho, you did it! Huh? I grabbed both of her arms and shook them. Both Maho and Daru seemed confused as to what was going on. I've time leaped here from 48 hours in the future. What? Seriously? We finished it sometime in the next 48 hours? Yeah. But how? I'll explain later. There's no time, so listen carefully. A lot of lives are at stake. I've gone over the mission many times while waiting for work on the phone wave to finish. I thought of everything to say. Maho, access Amadeus right now and delete Kurisu and Maho, as well as all their backups. Leskinen's not planning on using them for peaceful purposes at all. What? I can't just... I told you, I time leaped her, right? Akihabara's going to be a war zone less than an hour from now. They're coming for the time machine. Cannibal Queen! Hey! Welcome to the stream. You're just in time for the grand finale. Happy Valentine's Day. And that'll be the beginning of the Third World War. If we don't stop, Suzuha and Mayuri will both die. How have you been, Cannibal Queen, by the way? I hope good. Maho and Daru went pale when they heard that. Really? Wait, really? So do as I tell you, please. I can access the data, but to do anything, I need the processor's access points. It's Daru's job. Crack in and destroy all the data. Okie dokie, leave it to me. Daru started typing at incredible speed. His daughter's life was on the line. Maho stood next to him and typed in her ID and password to begin accessing Amadeus. I'm going to the radio building. You guys stay here. Okarin, take care of Suzuha. Right, leave it to me. Daru didn't even look up from his computer. Suzuha, Mayuri! When I made it to the top of the radio building, Mayuri quickly ducked behind the time machine. Okarin? Mayuri was trying not to look at me. Her eyes were a little red because she'd been crying so much. She heard me talking about Kurisu's sacrifice in the Alpha World line. My heart ached again, realizing how much I'd hurt her. Mayuri, are you going to use the time machine to go back to the past? Huh? How? I've time leaped from 48 hours in the future. I know all about it. What? Is that true? I nodded. The place is going to be a war zone in less than 30 minutes. What? Did someone find out about the time machine? Somehow? Yeah. It's bad. We'll have to jump right now. Suzu had leapt into the time machine. No, wait just a second. Darwa and Maho are dealing with it. They're smart people. It'll go fine, but if it doesn't... you may die. What do you mean, may? What happened to us before you time leaped? Wait, there was some fatal failure before you time leaped, right? I didn't know if I should tell them. No, there was no time to hesitate. You were inside the time machine. Just before it jumped, it was hit by a rocket launcher. But couldn't find your bodies in the rubble. See, that's why you said maybe. And the future hasn't been decided. There's still a possibility of success. I thought you'd say that. Don't try and stop me, Uncle. Her eyes were filled with resolve. They seemed to say that if I tried to stop her, she'd do whatever it took to ensure I failed. Of course, I had no intention of stopping her. I'd come here to do her job. There was no way to change her mind. Actually, I'd come here to ensure that she could jump without having to worry about Stratford's interference. But Mayuri, the uncertainty that had been going in and out of my mind ever since I'd read her message reared its head again. Mayuri, are you really leaving? I'm sorry I didn't tell you. But I, and Kurisu, and everyone else, we love you. I came to this world line because I wanted to save you. If you leave, we... Okarin? No, I know exactly how you feel, but... Hey, Uncle Okarin. Then Suzuha spoke softly. Operation Aquila has begun. Operation Aquila? Not the original plan I was told about. We're not going back to July 28th. We're going to August 21st. August 21st? That was the day Suzu had come in the time machine. The day I'd given up on everything. We need Big Sis Mai for that plan to work. My dad told me from the future just now. What? Future Daru had come up with an operation I knew nothing about? Needed Mayuri for it? Her unexpected words sent my mind reeling. Okarin. And then Mayuri came close enough for me to hold her, grabbed my hand tight. She looked a little like she was about to cry, but her eyes were clear and bright. Mayuri. Let me go, okay? Maybe she's a lab member too, you know? Maybe she's going to take her glum Hikoboyoshi and slap him across the face, okay? Please. I remembered what was in that message. I remembered how she must feel right now. The last remnants of my hesitation slowly melted away. I thought I was carrying all the burden myself. I was wrong, wasn't I? Little! Welcome to the stream. I couldn't see what was right in front of me. It wasn't just you, Mayuri. I had all the rest of the lab with me too. Ready? I suddenly felt a horrible pain in my leg as the shock knocked me several meters forward and onto the ground. Okarin! Uncle Okarin! I looked down at my leg and saw that there was a red stain around the calf. It felt like it was on fire. The pain flared up each time my heart beat. I couldn't stand. Was it a shot? You're Kagari. A girl in a motorcycle seat was standing there. Kagari had a handgun in her right hand, and in her left she was holding what looked like a bomb. There was no sign of the professor or other men in camo. That much was fortunate, but Kagure had shown up a little earlier than expected. I hadn't quite planned for this, but evidently I'd run out of time. Suzuha, get in the time machine. Go now! What? I'm sorry for being stupid. Daru is capable of doing whatever it takes to protect you. He's never going to fail. You know that. Uncle Hokari. So the machine will be just fine, right? Of course. In fact, there was no sign of anyone but Kagure showing up. That meant that Daru and Maho's efforts had been successful. It kept the secrets of the time machine out of Stratford's hands. Mayuri, you too, hurry. But what about you, Hokari? I was looking at my injured leg and panicking. There's no need to worry about me. I'm not going to die for another 14 years. Kagure fired again. The bullet struck less than 30 centimeters away from where I was lying on the ground. Nobody move or I'll kill him. Don't get in the time machine. I'm going to give it to the professor. And then I'm going to have him tell me how to use it. Go back to the future. Forget about her. I'll handle this. Just go. You too, Suzuha. You can leave Kagure to me. Got it. Big Sis Mayu, inside. What? Oh, wait. Suzuha pushed Mayuri inside the time machine and out of my sight. Uncle Hokari, take care of Kagure. Roger. Suzuha followed Mayuri inside. At the same time, the hatch started to close. I told you not to do that. Come out! Kagure ran up to it. I forced myself to stand up, ignoring the piercing pain, and blocked her way. I won't let you interfere. Shut up. Move. I refuse. Move. Kagure kicked my injured leg and hard. The pain made me so dizzy I could hardly stand. Kagure slipped past me and tried to grab onto the time machine. She was going to use the bomb in her hand. If she did, things would turn out the same as last time. My time leave would be wasted. Get out, or I'll use the bomb and blow up the machine. Stop! I grabbed her from behind and wrapped my arms around hers. I pulled her away from the machine, ignoring the pain in my leg. Don't you understand? If you do that, your mom's going to die! But I... Just calm down, please. Daru's hacking. He's being a super hacker right now. Mayuri tossed a hard drive to me from almost completely closed hatch. Okarin, here! What fell on the floor was the thing Kurisu had left behind for Maho. This is Kurisu's. How did it get here? I thought Russia had destroyed it. Don't get mad at Dad. I think he's gonna need it for time machine research. Just barely hear Suzuha's voice from within the machine. That was it. Daru had hidden in the time machine. Bye, Okarin. I'll come back, okay? I could see Mayuri looking at me from the small gap in the door. That's right. This was a temporary goodbye. I'd see her again someday. They're going to the past to change the future. And I'm not going this time. Right, Mayuri? Would send off my brave lab member 002 with my head held high. Counting on you, lab member 002, Sheena Mayuri. Execute Operation Aquila. Slap me in the face for being so pathetic. Yep, leave it to me. Okarin, I love you. Yeah. I smiled as the hatch sealed completely shut. The time machine started to roar. I felt like I heard a helicopter in the distance. I believed in him, but for now, I had no proof that Daru had been able to crack the complicated Amadeus system and delete every bit of data. It was possible that Special Forces teams from all around the world were converging on Akihabara right now. Imagine that made me want to hurry. Quickly. Go, quickly! I felt like praying as I watched the pale light surrounding the time machine. Don't go, Mommy. Big Sis Suzuha! Kakure's cry went unanswered. A bright light covered the time machine. It vanished from this world. It worked. Kagari sobbed and glared at me with eyes full of hate. Why? Why did you let Mommy go? She shook away my hands and pointed the gun at my head. I stared her dead in the face. Your wonderful Mommy's gone with Susaha to go scold a stupid man who ruined the world. Forget about her, didn't you? Right, Death Fellows? She's going to do something very important for the sake of the whole world. You're lying. You're lying! Mommy and Big Sis Susaha both left me behind. I'm not lying. About to go make it so you can meet Mommy in a much happier place. But let's stop this, okay? No, I can't believe that. No, I know you'll believe me. Because I know who you really are. How kind you really are. Gun barrel started to shake a little. Know me? I do. I've time leaped from 48 hours in the future. Kagari put her hands on her head as her body spasmed with pain. Hear the voice of God. Tells me not to believe you. You're a liar and an enemy, it says. It says if I kill you, I can go back to Mommy. It says to kill the bad man who's trying to destroy the world. Then I can go back to my old world. But he wasn't making any sense. Was this brainwashing? Had the professor done something so cruel? I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. Grabbed the failing hand that held the gun and looked deep into her eyes. I was crying and scared. Listen. Mommy's not coming back. But if we do our best, we may be able to make a world where you and Mommy can be happy. Why she traveled through time. Mustn't waste the chance she gave you. Still start over. Okay to disobey the voice of God? Yeah. The voice of God she was hearing was probably the professor's brainwashing. How far had its claws sunk into her mind? I had no way to tell. Now we had Maho, a specialist in brain science. If we work hard at treatment, I'm sure she'll be okay. Hey, Okabe. Voice was normal again. Want to see Mommy? Can I? Can. Someday. Glad. There was another sudden gunshot. Kagari's body collapsed right in front of me. I read where it came from and saw another girl in a black motorcycle suit. She was wearing a helmet, so I couldn't tell it was Moika Kiryu pointing a gun at us. Damn, now it's her? Jesus. It never ends. Her face was deathly pale. She was crying. You did forget, right? I totally did. There's just so much going on. It gets you. Oh my god. There was that scene last night where she's like, here, FB wants you to do this. I completely forgot. Why are you here? Why, Moika Kiryu? FB. Hey, FB. I didn't let that woman trick me. I knew this was a fake phone, so please, don't abandon me, FB. FB? Cell phone fell from her hands. Another shot from another gun blew into its fragments. I held Kagari in my arms. Chest was turning red. Hey, hang in there. Glad. The voice of God wasn't right all the time. My punishment. Destroyed her heart and tried to manipulate her. Sorry, I didn't mean to grow up like this. Mommy, where are you? Where are you? Divergence. Kagari is fated to die this day. Tractor fields, I mean. Important things that are supposed to happen will always happen. The will of Steins Gate. Her voice grew thinner. Moika Kiryu collapsed some distance away. Her eyes were unfocused. All she did was mumble. She didn't seem capable of coherent thought. Both of them would be in danger if I didn't get them to a hospital. But... dozens of men in camo jumped over the fence of the roof out of nowhere. What? Kandaro and Maho couldn't succeed in this short a time span. So was this war line going to converge so that the war started here no matter what? No, but... it wasn't a waste. If nothing else, it bought me time. I had delayed the attack long enough for Suzuha and Mayuri to leave. Right at this instant, we'd already won. The way forward was still uncertain. There was no doubt that the path to Steins Gate lay before me. Target 1 lost. Target 2 and Target 3 lost as well. What's going on? The leader was talking on his radio. We see attack helicopters in the sky. I heard that siren again. This is guerrilla attack information. Repeat, guerrilla attack information. A guerrilla attack may occur in this area. Please get indoors and obtain further information from radio or television broadcasts. War was starting. Just as I had thought, even the time leap couldn't change that. That you, Lintalho. Leskinen appeared from behind the men in camo. That's right, he was a secret member of Stratford, just like them. What are you doing here? Is Kaguri dead? Tell me, Lintalho, where's the time machine? Kaguri down on the ground and slowly rose back up. Blood wouldn't stop coming out of the wound on my leg. The pain was getting worse. But even still, I stood up proud and strong, in front of men with their guns, in front of the attack helicopter with its rocket launchers, in front of the professor, in front of the war that was about to begin. I laughed as loud as I could in that voice. Listen well, fools! The time machine you sought to attain is gone. It no longer exists in this time. Too bad. Now curse your own incompetence. And tremble in fear. For I, the great Hoin Kiyoma, will never lose to you. And I will never lose to fate. I will find the path to Steins Gate. That's right. This was the beginning of a long, long epigraph necessary to reach Steins Gate. Madness is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. Einstein had once said that, when he despaired of human folly. And now I would gladly give myself over to that madness and folly. I would use every bit of dedication and obsession within me to seek the lone different outcome, which the laws of God could not reach. That is my choice! We did it! Damn, we did it! Oh my god. Vega and Altair complete. Jesus. Freaking. Oh man. That was. Alright. Steins Gate, man. Steins Gate. And everything about the first one holds up in the second one. Damn. So much time travel. Hoin Kiyoma's back. The future can be tricked. Steins Gate can be obtained. To the Alpha World Line. We've done it. We now officially live in the best timeline.